Check 1, 2.
Good evening. I'd like to provide the American people with an update on our efforts to protect the integrity of our very important 2020 election. If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly. But a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio. To name just a few, we won these and many other victories despite historic election interference from big media, big money, and big tech. As everybody saw, we won by historic numbers. And the pollsters got it knowingly wrong. They got it knowingly wrong.
Wow.
There were polls that were so ridiculous, and everybody knew it at the time. There was no blue wave that they predicted. They thought there was going to be a big blue wave. That was false. That was done for suppression reasons. But instead, there was a big red wave. And it's been properly acknowledged, actually, by the media. They were.
Are you over 25? Have a clean driving
Sorry
record?
for the commercial.
No DUIs?
She's hot.
You can drop your auto insurance
give
rate
her a little-
to as
give
low
her
as
another minute.
$19 a month. How?
I think very impressed, but that was after the fact. That doesn't do us any good. We kept the Senate despite having twice as many seats.
Wow, good morning. Marcus Conte reporting. How you doing, man? Wow, holy shit. Trump is getting robbed. Is he? He's out there in front of the cameras saying that it's election fraud now for the first time. He's saying that there's some voter fraud, but he's also using the term election fraud. The media is stacking against him. All right, let's listen a little more because this is really interesting stuff. This is the first I've seen Trump really go out there. This was 2 days ago. I guess I missed it, but better late than never. Marcus Conte reporting here from his country. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was this guy, right? This crazy guy, a fucking long hair redneck living in New York City. And he used to run around the streets and challenge people and ask them their opinion and talk to them in Washington Square Park and such. And now there's a guy sitting in his yard. The same guy sitting in his yard, playing with his vintage cat, playing with his granny cat in the yard, laying in the grass in the sun, who effectively escaped. He escaped the wrath of New York City. So anyway, man, Marcus Conte reporting. It really looks like Trump is going to get robbed. It really looks like that. I mean, we'll look at the numbers. We'll look what everyone's saying. The mainstream media is spinning frantically the idea that Trump has lost, that Biden has won, that there is absolutely no evidence, no credible evidence, not a stitch of evidence to suggest that Trump was robbed, that Biden was fairly elected to the presidency. But that's where we're going right now. We're looking at it's unbelievable, right? We're looking at a potential Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, dead Biden, who couldn't put 100 people in the room, a stone's throw from the presidency. Will he live more than a year or 2 or 3? Will we get Kamala Harris? Is it over? Is Arizona over? We'll look at the numbers. I'm still open-minded. I think my opinion comes through. I lean on the side of truth. The truth is that Trump had the advantage. Trump is the president of the United States, and clearly appears to have had the will of the people. And somehow, some way, from out of nowhere, Joe Biden is leading. So it's unprecedented times. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you, Vinny DiMartini on the wrench. Weevil Girl is here. Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for following us over here. And I think we have another few days in exile from the main channel, and we'll get going again. Maybe just maybe the censorship will stop. They got what they want. Right? They silence so many people. YouTube is dead. when you look at it. Like, all the voices are gone. A lot of the good ones are gone. Facebook, Twitter. Everybody's been silenced. All you see is mainstream media spin. Not good, right? It's not good. Not good for America. But ain't that America for you and me? Ain't that America? It's something to see, baby. John Cougar couldn't. The song couldn't be more relevant. Let's listen to the Trumpster.
To defend as Democrats, and in a really much more competitive states, we did a fantastic job with the Senate. I think we're very proud of what's happened there. We had many more seats to defend. They spent almost $200 million on Senate races in South Carolina and Kentucky alone, 2 races, and hundreds of millions of dollars overall.
Trump looks a little down, I got to say. Trump looks a little serene. He's not waving the finger. He's not very upbeat. I think he knows what he has to do. I think that's what's happening. I think Trump knows what he has to do, which is he cannot go the way of Bernie Sanders and concede the election when he knows full well that it's a rig. You can't turn around and say, yeah, it was a rig, and thank you very much, and now we have to leave. You can't do that, right? That's that's unacceptable, right? That's unacceptable for the Trumpster. But that's what, if he does it, if he concedes, if Trump concedes, he goes the way of Bernie Sanders. Very, very sad. It's a very sad situation we're in right now.
Against us. At the national level, our opponents' major donors were Wall Street bankers and special interests. Our major donors were police officers, farmers, everyday citizens. Yet for the first time ever, we lost 0 races in the House. I was talking to Kevin McCarthy today. He said he couldn't believe it.
So I think that's accurate. The House will stay in the Democrats column, and Senate will remain Republican. And the power struggle right now is over the presidency, the executive branch.
0 races, very unusual thing, 0. And actually won many new seats with, I think, many more on the way.
Terry Miller says, if there was cheating, why doesn't the Attorney General do something? That's a good question, but when you say cheating, there's so many people, there's such a concerted effort in the cheating. Right? They all get together. Right? They're all on the same page. They get together, and the governors, the Democratic elected governors, even in Georgia, you're seeing a predominantly Democratic-controlled electoral fucking machine. And whoever controls the machine wins. That's how it works. So you say, well, why doesn't the Attorney General do something? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Lock up, 5 governors and 7 senators and all of the electoral people? It's not how it works. Right? It's the way it should work, but it's not how it works. It's not the time is not 2 days after the election to call election fraud. The time is to address it once you get in. That's what Trump didn't do. So go one step further. The Attorney General, William Barr, opens up an investigation, and months pass. And and what do we get out of it? We will still have people in power arguing that you are full of shit. How dare you call me a liar? You're not talking about pedestrians. You're talking about people in positions of power, people in positions of authority, right, who call the shots. So when you call them a liar, when you say that there's election fucking fraud in their state, and they flip you the finger, then it's the burden of proof is on you. Right? And you can't do that in 2 days, 3 days, or a week, or a month. It takes a long time. So that's what it is, right? That's what's going on. It's deep-rooted election fraud. Evidence is in the election, the exit polling not matching or not even being taken. Why did the mainstream media or whoever, Pew Research or whoever the fuck does it, why did they stop? Why Why did they stop the exit polls? Why? Because the exit polls are revealing. The exit polls reveal the truth. Exit polls reveal what someone voted. So when someone comes out of the polling station and says and asked, "Who did you vote for?" and they say, "Oh, I voted for Trump." One for Biden. I'm riding with Biden. I'm making America great again. I voted for Trump. They usually won't tell you before, but coming out that door, it's fairly accurate to a 2% margin of error, which means that if there's more than 2% margin of error, which in the Democratic primary was outrageous, Bernie Sanders versus Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders versus everybody else, it was the exit polls were off 15%, 12%, right? 8%, 10%, 12%. That is a banana republic. So when you say, and then the other part of the fraud, when you say it's election fraud, it's collusion with a media that doesn't like Trump. That is, the polling is rigged. The polling itself is rigged. So it's a. Let's listen more to Trump and see what he has to say. Well, let Trump explain it.
This was also the year of the Republican woman. More Republican women were elected to Congress than ever before. That's a great achievement. I won the largest share of non-white voters of any Republican in 60 years, including historic numbers of Latino, African American, Asian American, and Native American voters. The largest ever in our history.
It's just interesting to hear Trump talk. Let him. I want to hear what he has to say because I haven't really listened to all this. But he does seem a little down, a little down in the dumps. This is 2 days ago. Probably didn't sleep much.
We grew our party by 4 million voters, the greatest turnout in Republican Party history. Democrats are the party of the big donors, the big media, the big tech, it seems, and Republicans have become the party of the American worker, and that's what's happened. And we're also, I believe, the party of inclusion. As everyone now recognizes, media polling was election interference in the truest sense of that word by powerful special interests. These really phony polls, I have to call them phony polls, fake polls, were designed to keep our voters at home, create the illusion of momentum.
But why, Mr. President? Why did you wait till after the election to you're the executive branch. You are in charge of the most powerful, FBI, the CIA, you have William Barr, the Attorney General, the top lawyer in the nation. Why did you wait till now? Why did you wait? Because you thought it was going to go your way, and then there's no problem. But now that you're cheated, now that you're visibly cheated, now you want to create a ruckus. Now you want to get in the way. Now you want everybody to be upset. You want everybody to be upset that you got cheated, and you want the American people to revolt. And that is interesting. Have the American people revolted so far? I don't see any evidence of it. I see a little bit of the gun buy, right? But it's not over yet. That's maybe why. But I see Antifa tearing up New York City. Hundreds of them roaming around, scaring the shit out of people. We'll look at that too. But see, that's the problem with truth. Truth has to be. It's not if I win and it was a cheat, well then that's the truth, and I have to call it out. If I lose because of a cheat, well then so be it. Right? I have to call that out as well. Right? I have to be that's the fundamental problem Trump makes. He tells, he's constantly fibbing, with the economy and all the other bullshit that he tells. And now we know that there is election fraud. We've been following it for years, and unfair elections. And now Trump wants to step up and win over everybody's sympathy. I don't know if it's going to work.
For Mr. Biden and diminish Republicans' ability to raise funds, they were what's called.
Weevil Girl says people won't even get off the couch. That's right, man. That's right. Or they'll do what I did. Like, you can call me a coward, man. I got out of Dodge, man. I got out of Dodge, and most people are not going to get off their couch. Well, I'm not really. I got out of Dodge, but I went right back into it. Right? I'm not. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to still call it like I see it. But you're right. Most people will not get off the couch, will not challenge it. Will just say, "Oh, well, Trump lost, and let's just ride with Biden. We'll go riding with Biden. We're going to ride with Biden." See how that works out for you.
Suppression polls, everyone knows that now. And it's never been used to the extent that it's been used on this last election. To highlight just a few examples, the day before election, Quinnipiac, which was wrong on every occasion that I know of, had
all the pollsters were off in 2016, and now they have to validate themselves and be right. Because they have the establishment working. The polls are rigged. The mainstream media, the way they're reporting it, is rigged. That's psychological warfare. That works. That right there is a form of election rigging. Right? That's what it is.
Joe Biden up by 5 points in Florida, and they were off by 8.4 points, and I won Florida easily. So
Trump is making the point that the initial polls were off, but that doesn't really matter. The initial polls being off is not really significant. We know that the polls are off. What is significant is exit polling not being taken. When a poll is off by 8%, that's not really a pow gotcha. So I would disagree with that.
So, they had me losing Florida by a lot, and I ended up winning Florida by a lot. Other than that, they were very accurate. They had him up 4 points in Ohio, and they were up by 12.2 points. And I also won Ohio, great state of Ohio, very easily. The Washington Post said Biden up 17 points in Wisconsin. And
SG Commander says all those people who tampered with the ballots will get 20 plus years. I mean, I wouldn't hold your breath for that, but it's nice wishful thinking. I hope you're right.
It was basically even. They were off by about 17 points, and they knew that. They're not stupid people. They knew that. Suppression. There are now only a few states yet to be decided in the presidential race. The voting apparatus of those states are run in all cases by Democrats. We were winning in all the key locations by a lot, actually. And then our numbers started miraculously getting whittled away in secret.
Damn right.
They wouldn't allow legally permissible observers. We went to court in a couple of instances, and we were able to get the observers put in. And when the observers got there, they wanted them 60, 70 feet away, 80 feet, 100 feet away, or outside the building to observe people inside the building. And we won a case, a big case, and we have others happening. There are lots of litigation, even beyond our litigation. There's tremendous amount of litigation generally because of how unfair this process was. And I predicted that. I've been talking about mail-in voting for a long time. It's really destroyed our system. It's a corrupt system. And it makes people corrupt even if they aren't by nature. But they become corrupt. It's too easy. They want to find out how many votes they need, and then they seem to be able to find them. They wait, and then they find them. And you see that on election night. We were ahead in vote in North Carolina by a lot, tremendous number of votes. And we're still ahead by a lot, but not as many, because they're finding ballots all of a sudden. Oh, we have some mail-in ballots. It's amazing how those mail-in ballots are so one-sided, too. I know that it's supposed to be to the advantage of the Democrats, but in all cases, they're so one-sided. We were up by nearly 700,000 votes in Pennsylvania. I won Pennsylvania by a lot. And
that's all changing. On Batman. Batman's not a new cat. Batman has been with me for 10 years. I've had Batman for 10 years. You want to hear the story about Batman? Batman was a Chinatown cat, right? In New York City when I lived in Chinatown. And I was coming home one day, and Batman was sitting. He was sitting, trying to hide himself behind a very thin pole. out on the street. And I said to myself, oh man, this cat either ran away, he ran out the door when somebody opened it, or the worst scenario, somebody just put him out. Right? A house cat just put him out, said, get out. He was about 2 years old, and I've had him ever since. Now he's a big, fat, black cat. Him and Granny Cat hate each other, right? They walk by each other, but there's more space here, so they're not stepping on each other. But Batman's he's been with me the whole time, you know.
And that gets whittled down to, I think they said now we're up by 90,000 votes, and they'll keep coming and coming and coming. They find them all over, and they don't want us to have any observers, although we want a court case. The judge said you have to have observers. Likewise in Georgia, and they're appealing. Actually, they're appealing. We want a case that we want people to watch, and we want observers, and they're actually appealing, which is sort of interesting. I wonder why they'd appeal, that all we want to do is have people.
So Trump's talking about his legal challenges. Are the legal challenges worth it? Is he going to, is that going to matter? Is the Supreme Court going to decide the election? Is the House of Representatives going to decide the election? Does it really matter? Does it really, is it an effective way to go? Or is it just fight in the court of public opinion? Because that's really, I say that the Supreme Court, without significant evidence, you can't, because when you say that the polling is a form of voter suppression, you have to prove it. In a court of law, you have to prove it. That's speculation, but that is what's going on. So that's how it works. You could say, well, that's not fraud at all, because that's an American company promoting its agenda. You can make all those you can make all of those arguments, and so a legal battle is quite difficult in my view.
But watch as they do the vote tabulations. Likewise in Georgia, I won by a lot, with a lead of over getting close to 300,000 votes on election.
I don't know if Trump's numbers are right. I just want to hear what he has to say, and we'll look at the real numbers. The other part of the story about Batman is that I think that if I didn't save him, I think that they would have made him into like wonton soup or something. Right? Oh, China. Oh, fat black cat. Right? They eat cats, right? They're fucking Chinese, man. So I saved him from the wonton. I saved him from the pot.
Tonight in Georgia, and by the way, got whittled down, and now it's getting to be to a point where I'll go from winning by a lot to perhaps being even down a little bit. In Georgia, a pipe burst in a faraway location, totally unrelated to the location of what was happening, and they stopped counting for 4 hours, and a lot of things happened. The election apparatus in Georgia is run by Democrats. We also had margins of 300,000, and Michigan, we're way up in Michigan, won the state, and in Wisconsin we did likewise fantastically well, and that got whittled down. In every case they got whittled down.
Yep.
Today we're on track to win Arizona. We only need to carry, I guess, 55% of the remaining vote, 55% margins, and that's a margin that we've significantly exceeded, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, good morning, Bill Conte. William Conte's here. Hey, Bill, I got a great photograph. I was just thinking of you. I was cleaning out some stuff. I was like putting stuff up, and I have a photo of you, me, Ronti, right? All the characters, Vincent and Anthony, all the cousins with Grandpa in the backyard in Staten Island. Oh man, fucking Bill, where you been, man? It's good to see you in there. I want to show you that shot, man. I'll just come back, and I don't have it. I got to take a picture of it, but I'll show it to you, man. What a great photograph, man. What a fucking great memory, my brother.
With that, but we're on track to do okay in Arizona. Our goal is to defend the integrity of the election. We'll not allow the corruption to steal such an important election, or any election for that matter. And we can't allow anybody to silence our voters and manufacture results. I've been doing a lot of public things for a long time. I've never had anything that's been as inspirational, by people calling, talking, sending things to us. I've never seen such such love and such affection and such spirit as I've seen for this. People know what's happening and they see what's happening and it's before their eyes. And there are many instances which will be reported very shortly. There's tremendous litigation going on. And this is a case where they're trying to steal an election. They're trying to rig an election. And we can't let that happen.
Trying to rig an election? Trump, they did rig the election. They rigged it. All right? They got you, man. They went after Bernie Sanders. They silenced him, and now how the hell did you squeak by the last time? And now they're coming for you, man.
Happened. Detroit and Philadelphia, known as two of the most corrupt political places anywhere in our country, easily cannot be responsible for engineering the outcome of a presidential race, a very important presidential race. In Pennsylvania, Democrats have gone to the state Supreme Court to try and ban our election observers, and very strongly. Now, we won the case, but they're going forward. They don't want anybody in there. They don't want anybody watching them as they count the ballots. And I can't imagine why. There's absolutely no legitimate reason why they would not want to have people watching this process, because if it's straight, they should be proud of it. Instead, they're trying, obviously, to commit fraud. There's no question about that. In Philadelphia, observers have been kept far away, very far away, so far that people are using binoculars to try and see, and there's been tremendous problems caused. They put
I don't know how true that is, but that's damn funny. Trump said that the observers are using binoculars because they're so far away they can't see what's going on. That's fucking hysterical, man. If that's true, that's hysterical, man. That's the picture you want. That's the picture you want, New York Post, of observers using binoculars from a distance.
paper on all of the windows so you can't see in, and the people that are banned are very unhappy and become somewhat violent. The 11th Circuit ruled that in Georgia the votes have been in by Election Day, that they should be in by Election Day, and they weren't. Votes are coming in after Election Day. And they had a ruling already that you have to have the votes in by Election Day. To the best of my knowledge, votes should be in by Election Day. And they didn't do that. Democrat officials never believed they could win this election, honestly. I really believe that. That's why they did the mail-in ballots, where there's tremendous corruption and fraud going on. That's why they mailed out tens of millions of unsolicited ballots without any verification.
Tens of millions. He's saying that the establishments have sent out tens of millions of unsolicited ballots. Well, I don't know. Why would it matter? Why would it matter so much if a ballot is unsolicited? Well, why would it matter if a ballot is unsolicited? If nobody asked for their ballot and suddenly it was sent to their house, isn't that a good thing in the United States of America? Shouldn't everybody shouldn't have to go stand online? Shouldn't it be made easy for people? I don't disagree with that. Because it doesn't work to your advantage, or because it's manipulatable, because it can be manipulated like it just was, well, that's valid. So then why not move? Why not, Trump, 4 years ago, why didn't you say, let's move towards an ATM style of machine? Right? It's not like we can't get it right. We have ATM machines. They're flawless. They're immaculate. They're perfect. Right? They're little, it's like a bank, right? A bank doesn't make it never makes an error, rarely makes an error. Why can't we get a system of election where, electoring, where everybody maybe use a fingerprint, now that we have the fingerprint technology, and what is the problem? The problem is that the system is so broken and so fucked up that the Republicans cheat in their own way, and the Democrats cheat in their own way, and the people get screwed. Have an election of the people, by the people, for the people. Whoever wins, that's who gets to move into office.
Measures whatsoever, and I've told everybody that these things would happen because I've seen it happen. I watched a lot of different elections before they decided to go with this big, massive election with tens of millions of ballots going out to everybody, in many cases totally unsolicited. This was unprecedented in American history. This was by design, despite years of claiming to care about the election security. They refused to include any requirement to verify signatures, identities, or even determine whether they're eligible or ineligible to vote. People are walking in there. They have no idea. They're just taking numbers. They're writing down things, the workers, and doing a lot of business.
You know, I would respectfully argue with that that's not really what's going on. That's voter fraud to some degree, but it's more of election fraud. Even if they sent out, see, here's the thing: even if they sent out 10 million extra ballots, right? Most of those things, most people that don't vote are not going to vote anyway. You know, do I have to put a stamp on this thing? I'm not spending fucking 50 cents to send this shit in, right? They'll give something like that, or they won't get off the couch. They'll take it. They'll, I don't know, put it in the fireplace. I don't know what people do, right? But will it encourage people to vote? Maybe not. But what it does do is it manufactures the consent for the steal, because the Democrats can then say, look at all these extra ballots that were sent out. That's why Biden won. But we have no evidence. We'll never see stacks and stacks and millions of ballots in a way that is believable to anybody. Right? It's a matter of who's in charge gets to say this guy won and that guy lost, and that's really the stone cold truth of the matter.
Things, and we have a lot of information coming and litigation that you'll see that will shake even you people up, and you've seen it all. The officials overseeing the counting in Pennsylvania and other key states are all part of a corrupt Democrat machine that you've written about, and for a long time you've been writing about the corrupt Democrat machine.
But you're the president of the United States, and you know that there's a corrupt Democratic machine. You said you were going to lock her up. You said you were going to drain the swamp, Trump. Now the swamp got you. Right? The Clinton machine is still in place. Maybe if you would have locked up Hillary Clinton, you would have set a precedence. But now it's too late. Now what are you going to do? You're going to put your tail between your legs and say it's fraud? You were the president of the United States, still are, and have done nothing to alleviate the overt cheating. Right? Maybe if that was the single thing you did was to revamp the electoral system so we can see what the people really think. I think that's the most important thing. If you did, what do the people really think in America? We don't know. We really don't know, because we don't have a fair system of counting counting the votes. What do people really think? In my view, and in my exploration, I think at this time, at this moment in time, the country was leaning Trump, because they really distrust the Democrats in terms of legality, in terms of cheating, but also in terms of incompetence. I don't think most people, believe that the Democrats are going to, impose a system that actually works for all people. I think that's all a farce. The Democrats ask for your vote, and then when the vote is when the elections are over and declared, if they win, then they turn to the donors and say, okay, what kind of favors can I give you? Thank you very much for the $2 billion. Let's go.
I went to school there, and I know a lot about it. It hasn't changed. It's a long time ago, and hasn't changed. It's gotten worse.
That's right. Terry Miller says, Trump thought Juan Guaido, remember Juan Guaido, should be installed in Venezuela as president. Yeah, he did, right. So that's evidence of stupidity, right? It's evidence of what was going on in Venezuela. It had nothing to do with Juan Guaido or Nicolas Maduro being a dictator and a brute and killing people. It had to do with a system of socializing the gas and oil under the feet of the Venezuelan people, and that's all Maduro wanted to do. It's a corrupt system. It's broke. Yeah, it is broke, but it's none of our business. And but the United States wants to control the second largest oil reserve in the world under the feet of Venezuela. And the play was to get Juan Guaido, some outside jerk-off, 36-year-old schmuck, to become the president of Venezuela and exile Nicolas Maduro. So what? So they can get control of that oil. That's really what's going on. And Trump supported that. Terry Miller's right in saying that.
In Pennsylvania, partisan Democrats have allowed ballots in the state to be received 3 days.
See, I think that the point I'm trying to make is that corruption is as corruption does. And corruption is what it is. You have to call it out. You have to say not that the election is corrupt, but all of the things that you're seeing come from a place of truth. I don't think Trump came from a place of truth. I think Trump came from a place of politics. How many times has Trump waved his finger? If you look at the State of the Union, the last State of the Union that he did, I mean, it was just like a cartoon. He was talking about how wonderful America is and how prosperous everybody has become since he took office. A lot of it doesn't have any fact. It's a feel good, and I like that Trump does that. I like that Trump says America's a great place. Respect your country, serve your country, be part of your country, be proud of your country. That's a wonderful messaging from Trump, as opposed to the dirty Democrats who say, it's that America's racist and it's built on slave labor and it's horrible, and those whites over there, all those white motherfuckers are trying to suppress everybody and they steal land. That's the voice of the Democratic Party. Let's see if they change now. They certainly changed during Obama, and now the Republicans are going to brace yourself for the Republican wall of no. The party of no under Obama, the Republicans will come back and be the party of no under Biden. So again, you have nothing done. Right? That's why, again, I always said Sanders would have been the better move, because that's real. That's a real voice of the people. Bernie Sanders turns to the people and says, "What do you want?" And that's what, up until the point of him folding like a cheap suit, Sanders was voicing the voice of America, healthcare, living wage, those sorts of things, right? Green New Deal, right? End the insurgency wars, break up the banks, get money out of politics. All those things that Bernie Sanders stood for were things that the people clearly needed, and I don't think Biden represents it, and Trump certainly doesn't represent it. So, as bad as we might feel that Trump is getting screwed, what are we really losing other than a guy who calls out the corruption but appears to be powerless in getting anything done? What has he done to really curb the news, the fake news, other than point to it and say, "Oh, look how dirty and look how corrupt it is"? But then he doesn't do anything about it. There's no prosecution. You got to arrest people. Lock her up was the way to go. Lock up Hillary Clinton. Lock up James Comey. Right? Lock up Lloyd Blankfein. Lock up the bankers that steal trillions of dollars. That's how you win, right? That's how you set a precedence. And then people say, the bankers say, "Oh shit, I don't want to go to jail for 20 years. I'm out." Right? And Trump just categorically failed to do it, right?
After the election, and we think much more than that. And they're counting those without even post.
All right, so that's Trump. Let's move right along. By the way, marcusconte.com, I forgot to give the plug. I'll start updating this site as we get back to the main channel very soon. And kindly become a Patreon of the channel. Videos, YouTube is deleting so many videos I can't even keep up with them. Every time I look at my email box, another video is deleted. Your video was removed from YouTube for blah, 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 blah. You can't say anything anymore on YouTube. But we could still broadcast live, so if you're hearing this, we're at least live. We're like the old days, radio. But they want to erase the history. They don't want the history, the prediction, right, to be there, the evidence to be there, right, to live on on their channel. So that's why guys like me get cut. So let's look at the official math right now. Joe Biden, I'm sure everybody has seen this, but Joe Biden is sitting at 264. And now what once was leaning Trump in Pennsylvania, they are now giving it to Biden. Look at the spread. 99% of the vote in Pennsylvania. 99% in. And Joe Biden has a 120 point lead. Trump has, Biden has just a little over 1,000 votes in a place where 3.3 million votes were counted. 3.3 million votes were cast, allegedly. And the spread is 1,000 votes. Oh my fucking God, man. That's just unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. Are we really divided like that? No, I think that Trump's numbers are probably real and the Biden numbers are just fiction. That's what I think. Right? As Trump moves up, they just keep adding adding numbers to Biden. So again, if Trump loses any one of the remaining four, he's out. If he loses Nevada, which with 87% of the vote in, he's 1 percentage point off, a difference of 8,000 votes in Nevada. If he loses that, it's over. In Pennsylvania, 1,000 votes separate the two. If he loses there, 20 electoral votes go into Biden's column. It's over. But Trump has to win all of them. He has to win Nevada. He has to win Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. If he fails to win all of them, 214 plus 6 is 220, plus Pennsylvania is 240, plus North Carolina is 255, plus Georgia is 271. So there it is. At this time, according to and Alaska too. Alaska has not been calculated in yet. Trump would he doesn't necessarily have to win Alaska, but if he does, it would put him at 274. 274 because there's 3 electorates. So again, one more time. If Trump loses Nevada, it's over. If he loses Pennsylvania, it's over. If he loses North Carolina, it's over. And if he loses the state of Georgia, where, I mean, it's literally, here there's actually a little wider margin than in Pennsylvania. It looks like the largest, the closest race, and that doesn't really make sense. This doesn't make sense. In Pennsylvania, oh yeah, it is. It's down to 1 percentage point. It doesn't really make sense how, because 99% of the vote in, the margin, the vote percentage difference is higher in Pennsylvania, yet there's only 1,000 votes separating them, as in Georgia, where there's 0.2 percentage points and there's more of a gap in the amount of votes. Here there's like 5,000 difference. So those numbers, if you're a mathematician, crunch the numbers in Pennsylvania and in Georgia, and you'll see that they don't really, the numbers themselves don't really make sense. And North Carolina looks like it's going Trump, but if Trump wins one, he fails. He must win all 4 of the remaining states, or he could start a legal battle in Arizona and try to flip that one. He won Florida, that's in his column. What else is up? Iowa. In Iowa is like, 7 percentage points. So that's his only hope. Michigan seems to have widened even more for Biden, according to the fake numbers. Looks like they gave Biden an extra 150,000 votes. In Wisconsin, as well, there's 20,000 votes separating the two in Wisconsin. So can Trump, as I said, it's not looking good. The cheat is in, the rig is in. Pennsylvania has a Democratic governor. Right? Georgia, apparently the electorate is controlled by Democrats. In Nevada, Democrats is so corrupt. If you recall the time of Bernie Sanders trying to beat Hillary Clinton in Nevada, and it was deeply corrupted. It's deeply corrupt. So those are the numbers, and here's how more evidence of election rigging. Watch this guy on CNBC just stop Trump. Trump starts to talk, and then he shuts him off. Watch this.
Now, tens of millions of unsolicited ballots without any verification measures whatsoever.
Well, we're interrupting this because what the President of the United States is saying, in large part, is absolutely untrue. He began, and we're not going to allow it to keep going because it's not true.
Really? Really? See, this is the mainstream media. There's no objectivity whatsoever. None. Zero. This guy is out in front of the cameras, and Trump is not even 30 seconds into his talk, and he cuts him off.
He began with there were legal votes, and if they only count the legal votes, I easily win. If they count the illegal votes, they're trying to steal the election. There is not a scintilla of...
George's son reminds us that Harry Reid lives in Nevada, and he does, yeah. Harry Reid is the extremely corrupt former senator, Democratic senator.
Of evidence that this is true. None. There's only words here. No truth. He said the pollsters knowingly got the polls wrong to create voter suppression. There is no evidence of any kind that this has happened. And
well, how would you know? You'd have to subpoena them, right? It doesn't add up. Right? There is evidence of it. There's no direct evidence, but there's mountains of circumstantial evidence which is admissible in court. With evidence, when they say evidence, right? When they say evidence, they mean direct evidence. Direct evidence that doesn't require any further investigation. But circumstantial evidence is different. Like the exit polls don't match. That's a piece of circumstantial evidence. The other components of the math that we just looked at doesn't even add up. That the ability to actually count the votes and verify that they are what they are is another piece of circumstantial evidence. Mountain upon mountain of circumstantial evidence, right? And once you examine that circumstantial evidence, then you start to uncover, actual, direct evidence. Like in Brooklyn, for example, where they purged 200,000 voters off the rolls, or in Florida, where the Democratic, her name was Brenda Snipes, who rigged the election against Tim Canova in favor of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and admitted openly that they destroyed the ballots. Tim Canova demanded a recount, and they destroyed the ballots. That's direct evidence, right? And there was no consequence. Nothing happened. So this guy's a cocksmoker right here for saying, he's a dickhead, for saying that there is no evidence. There is evidence, right?
And he's provided none. He said that there is actually a red wave in this election. That is categorically false. He said there was election interference. There is no evidence to support that. And
there's plenty of evidence to support. What he's doing right in front of you is election interference, right? They're using the media to interfere or to sway elections. Now, you could say that's legal, again, because the corporations are owned, but, the corporations own these media companies, and they can do whatever the fuck they want, and there really is no more, freedom of the press and freedom of speech. You can make those arguments, but that is suppression. That is, the mainstream media has an enormous capacity to swing public opinion.
The president has offered none. He said the polls were fake. In some cases, the polls were wrong. It's been widely discussed that maybe the idea of polling needs to be reinvented. That's for another day. There's no evidence that the polls were, quote, fake.
There's no evidence that the polls were fake? Of course there's evidence that the polls were fake. I did my own poll. I did my poll in the Washington Square Park, and it leaned, 40% Bernie Sanders, and then the primary it was 40% Biden. So there's plenty of evidence.
He said that observers were not allowed in to watch the counting of the votes. Categorically false. He said that he won a court challenge on allowing observers in to view.
So I'm just playing this because this is what to expect. This is how, once you've manufactured the consent to say that Biden was way out ahead, now the president challenges that. They try to paint him the liar, the conspiracy theorist. Paint Trump the conspiracy theorist, right? And then continue the barrage of nonsense, the barrage of fake news that says everything Trump says is a lie. And that's what they'll do. Does it work? Yeah, it wears people down. Right? As someone said earlier, people won't even get off the couch, right? What's the point? See, that's why the lunatic left has an advantage, because they will get off the couch and they will protest and they will carry on and they will, roam and up and down the streets and take charge of shit. No doubt about it. Right? So, but this is what to expect. Right? Let's listen to Sleepy Joe give his speech. Listen to this. All right, and here you'll hear nothing regarding any election fraud. We won fair and square.
My fellow Americans, we don't have a final declaration of victory yet, but the numbers tell us it's clear. Tell us a clear and convincing story. We're going to win this race. Just look at what has happened since yesterday. 24 hours, we were behind in Georgia. Now we're ahead, and we're going to win that state. 24 hours ago, we were behind in Pennsylvania, and we are going to win Pennsylvania. And now we're ahead, but we're winning in Arizona, we're winning in Nevada, and in fact, our lead just doubled in Nevada. We're on track to over 300 electoral college votes. And look at the national numbers. We're going to win this race.
Gregory Wright puts up something interesting. I fully support Donald Trump becoming the next Julius Caesar. I will die for him. Are we on that? Are we on those steps yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Is Trump going to call? Is Trump going to call for civil war? Is Trump going to call for patriots, hold your ground? We've been robbed. Right? I think he has to. I think he must to leave with his tail between his legs. As I said, he goes the way of Bernie Sanders. So I hope there's more of you. I hope there's more of you that say, that Trump was robbed and that he should hold his ground to become the king. Right? Why not?
Race with a clear majority of the nation behind us. We've gotten over 74 million votes. Let me repeat that. 74 million votes. That's more than any presidential ticket has ever gotten in the history of the United States of America. And our vote total is
none of the math adds up. None of it. I mean, it's just fuzzy math. You remember that expression? Remember that expression under what was it? Ronald Reagan. Fuzzy math.
Still growing. We're beating Donald Trump by over 4 million votes. And that's a margin that's still growing as well. One of the things I'm especially proud of is how well we've done across America. And we're going to be the first Democrat to win in Arizona in 24 years. We're going to be the first Democrat to win Georgia in 28 years. And we've rebuilt the blue wall.
So that's here you're listening to Joe Biden declaring victory, for lack of a better term. I don't want to listen to this guy because he's really a shithead. So here we go. So protests on both sides. All right, let's protest. All right, another night of protests in New York City, miles away from where I am. I escaped. Another night of protests. Not that I was out there at night protesting or watching it, because it's kind of boring and very predictable. It's a bunch of racists jumping in the face of people that they perceive to have better privilege or more Sitting at a restaurant eating. You're sitting there eating, and you got some big fat black motherfucker telling you that you got privilege. Fuck your dinner. They were saying that shit. Fuck your dinner. Get up. You're moving, man. So another night of protests in New York City. Let's watch. Get some video, or we got to watch a commercial? Because I don't want to watch a commercial, man. I really don't want to watch a commercial. Shit's not clicking. Bye. So it was just another night of protests in Manhattan with one naked reveler dancing in a fountain and weary outdoor diners watching, folks in the air, as a procession of 300 marchers file past. Now, 300 is a lot of people, but in putting it into perspective, what we once had, well, what Antifa once had was tens of thousands of people, and that's not an exaggeration. I saw those numbers with my own eyes. I saw tens of thousands of people marching through the streets of New York City, breaking shit, and not all of them, maybe 5% of them were breaking shit. I saw that with my own eyes. So to put those numbers into perspective, 300 is a whole lot less than what it was. So the night's festivities began with a combination Black Lives Matter protest and Donald Trump is over dance party in Washington Square Park. Oh man, I've been gone for a week. I already miss Washington Square Park. I'm missing it. I go there in the daytime, right? I hang out there in the day. I don't go near it at night. The people are calling it impatient Joe Biden fans assert in online ads for the event. In what may have been some kind of political statement, one attendee doffed his clothes and jumped into the park's fountain, where he danced around shouting, "I'm Nevada." The revelers left the park at around 9:30 p.m. and meandered through the neighborhoods of Lower East Side and Greenwich Village, cursing the police, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden along the way. Oh, they're cursing everybody, right? Oh, that's good. I've always said that the anarchists don't really support Biden. They support change. They support a power vacuum, a place where shit gets confusing and they could start imposing their will. Will they have any voice in a Biden administration? I don't think so. I think those are the people that would. Bernie Sanders certainly would have given them a voice prior to the violence and setting fires all over all over the West. That's now you're not allowed to say that. Did they actually do it? Of course they did. Right? We saw those wildfires spinning out of control. Accelerants, being found. Packs of firecrackers. Right? The revelers left the park. So let's look at some pictures. And here they are. Mostly young white people with masks, ranting for blacks. Democracy is sexy. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with a lot of these young people. I agree with what they want. I just don't think that the primary message should have been racism, because that's not the case. So looks like NYPD getting ready to crack some heads. Lots of rallying in the street. They walk, they roam peacefully. Again, 300 is not a lot. But then again, Spartans. In Sparta, they only had 300. Right? That's an interesting number, right? 300 strong. Right? 300 strong. Let's see. Right, this is fucked up because of the fake COVID thing. People have to eat out on the street, and then if they don't support you, if they don't necessarily support you and what you're chanting and rallying, then they'll challenge you while you're sitting down eating your $25 meal. Right. Oh, isn't she lovely? You got a whole culture now of these pseudo protesters, right? It's a phenomenon now. It's like the 70s art movement where people like Andy Warhol and Madonna, were roaming. Jean-Michel Basquiat were roaming the streets trying to promote art. It wasn't a lot of people. And what you start to see in these movements is extreme characters start to rise to the top. Leaders of a movement of, I don't know what, certainly not supporting Biden, but it is an interesting phenomena occurring in New York City. You see what I'm saying? Like, this isn't just the average teenage girl Right? This is like a buffed and polished provocateur, right? The speech is organized. It's financed, right? They know what they're doing. Is what I'm talking about, right? And it's not big numbers, but they're all very seasoned. Right? Cops. See, this is an interesting shot right here because it says look how fashionable we are. Doesn't it say that? It says, look, everything is boarded up and there's cops, but those are sexy women. They're sexy young white women. Young women on the prowl with short shorts and big mouths, because the bigger the mouth, the better, right? And that's what you're starting to see. You're starting to see this cult formation of would-be protesters. So that they can get their picture in the New York Post, so that they can get their voice heard. Everybody wants their voice heard. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be a rock star. Everybody. Right? And here's the naked guy dancing in the fountain. Mind you, it's 50 degrees in Washington Square Park last night. It's cold. And why is the fountain even on still? Shouldn't it have been taken down? Shouldn't it have been drained already? But nonetheless, so that's one side of the protest. Here's another side. Gun-touting men who went to Philly to straighten out the vote are charged. They went to Philly to straighten everybody out. So 2 gun-touting Virginia men who were arrested after they traveled to Philadelphia to straighten out the vote in Pennsylvania on Thursday night have been charged and identified. All right. Suspects were identified by, it's only 2. So Antifa and the radicals have 300 strong just in New York alone. What about Portland? What about the West Coast? What about Kenosha? Where all over the country, Antifa has a lot of rebellions. Now, is it a secret? Are there sleeper cells all over our country? Right? Sleeper cells, of patriots ready to rise up. Well, I don't really see any evidence of that. Where's the evidence? Show it to me. Show me even a little circumstantial evidence other than the fact that gun sales have risen a little bit. A little spike up, because that always happens during elections. People stock up on guns. So two knuckleheads two suspects were identified by a local ABC affiliate, Joshua, 42, and Antonio, 61, both from Virginia. They were each hit with concealed firearm without a license, a felony, and carrying a firearm on public street, a misdemeanor. All right, so these guys are going to get fucked. They crossed state lines. The Hummer they were riding in was decked out in regalia related to Q. You remember Q? Q, where are you now? Where's Q now? Where the fuck is he? I hope that works, because I can't hear it. I hope the reverb works. Hey, give me a 1 if you heard reverb. I'll do it again. Give me a 1 if you heard reverb. Thank you. The Hummer they were riding in was decked out in QAnon stuff. Joe Biden leads in Pennsylvania after overtaking President Trump's advantage. Right. So, listen, you remember this guy? You remember Bernie Sanders? Bernie Sanders. Remember Bernie Sanders? Without going into debt. Let's find out. Let's listen to a little bit of Bernie Sanders.
As I speak to you now, it appears that Joe Biden is on his way to win the electoral votes of Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, and become our next president. He is also winning the popular vote by over 4 million votes, a number which will likely go over 5 million.
Bernie Sanders swallowing the poison, right? He is swallowing the poison. Bernie loves the poison. Bernie's like, oh yeah, no, elections are real. No, Joe Biden's winning. It's Bernie Sanders for you.
When all the votes are counted. As I've said many times, this election was not just about Joe Biden versus Donald Trump and what their views on the issues were. This election went much, much deeper than that. It was an election about...
It went so deep, it went right up your ass, Bernie.
whether we end pathological lying in the White House and retain democracy and the rule of law in our country. And thank God, it appears that we have done that.
Really, the rule of law. What happened when Antifa was smashing every window in Lower Manhattan? Rule of law, right? Peaceful protest, my ass.
In the days and weeks to come, I am sure that everyone in the world is going to be taking credit for Biden's apparent victory. And the media and the pundits will have their views as well. But let me just say this. I want to take this up.
Do you think that in Bernie's mind, he thinks that he's going to get some sort of leverage in a Biden administration? I don't think so. I mean, it would be interesting if Biden is true to himself, or true to what he said, or whatever was discussed with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders would be appointed to a cabinet seat, right? He'd be in the Oval Office discussing. Make him the czar, the healthcare czar. Make him that, and let Bernie Sanders get everybody universal healthcare or something, right? Put him to use, man. Right? That's kind of wishful thinking. That's kind of would be interesting if Bernie Sanders gets a seat at the table.
Opportunity to thank progressive grassroots organizations all across this country for their extraordinary efforts in helping.
The point is that nobody really wants to hear Bernie Sanders anymore. Look at Bernie Sanders. Oh, this was today, and 7,000 views. That's it, 7,400 views. This is Bernie Sanders, the guy who drew, was drawing, 25,000 people, put 30,000 people in Washington Square Park to hear him run for the presidency. Now, he can't get 7,000 people in the morning to hear what he has to say about an election that is clearly in the balance. Right?
To make this victory possible. You made the phone calls.
That's an interesting question. George's son asks, Marcus, do you feel duped by Bernie Sanders? No, I think that what Sanders represents is real. What he advocates is good for the American people. I believe that. And if nothing else, he was an advocate for universal health care and the things that he stands for, right? Long list of them. Get money out of politics, the big one, right? Overturn Citizens United, those things. And I think that Sanders is an old school politician that he doesn't have the balls or the testicles to call out the corruption as it is, like Trump does. But even Trump calling it out still wasn't able to penetrate or make a difference in the 4 years he was there. He failed to lock up Hillary Clinton. But Bernie Sanders, I think, believes it, and he thinks the best you could hope for is to get the establishment pick. And this is not really different from what he's always said. To get the establishment pick, whether it's Biden or Hillary Clinton, and then try to impose some sort of influence on them, and to ultimately transform a very corrupt, broken Democratic party and convert it into a progressive movement. So, has Bernie Sanders ever been not vocal about that? Not really. So I don't feel duped. I just feel that he wasn't the proper leader, in my view, because even if he gets what he wants, which is a Biden presidency, you're going to see you're going to still have the same bullshit going on. You're not going to get Biden. Biden is going to forget. He's going to forget who Bernie Sanders is or was. Bernie Sanders will be long gone and silenced. So as far as being duped, I don't really think of it as being duped. Disappointed that he wasn't more like Trump and fought to the bitter end. He wasn't willing to die on this hill. That's the fundamental flaw with Bernie Sanders, and it's not really a flaw. It's the sign of a very shrewd politician, which Bernie Sanders is. Do I respect it? No, I turn away from it.
You texted, you registered voters, you did virtual.
Right. He's no leader, says SG. He's a wingman. Right. He's a second fiddle guy. I would agree with that. Right. he presents himself as a real leader, but nonetheless, I don't know why we're talking about Sanders. I just think that, there is that theory that Bernie Sanders is going to have an influence over Joe Biden. I don't agree with it.
Rallies, you distributed literature, and you knocked on doors when possible. Knowing the importance, the extraordinary importance of this election, you did everything that you could and more. Together, you built widespread support for Biden among young people, people of color, and the working class of our country.
At this point, I don't even think Bernie Sanders believes what he's saying. But you hear how Trump is calling out the. I'll leave it there. You hear, look how empty I am. I like the space though, motherfucker. I'm coming to you live. I'll get back. I'll get my shit back. Right. It's also I'm adjusting to the volume because, as you notice, I'm not wearing. I retired my headset for a little bit, so I have to work on my ability to hear. My ability to speak in a way that you're hearing it. Right. To When I'm wearing a headset, I know what you hear because I hear it. When I'm in a microphone, like when I'm outside, that's different. Outside is different. But inside in a room, I have to set my vocal capacity so that I'm basing it on a red line that I'm looking at when I overmodulate. So I'm in a little bit of an adjustment period. Plus my camera's a little off to the right, but we're making strides. The first stream I had the fucking software shit all set up wrong. Right? I don't know what happened. I don't know why I don't know why it changed. Hopefully that's not what's going on now. Right? I hope the audio is fucking crystal clear. But anyway, so Marcus Conte reporting. We are living in a time where it appears that Trump must get busy. Trump must get aggressive. Will Trump call people to arms? Will Biden? Does Biden really think he has the support of the Black Lives Matter Antifa movement? There's no evidence of that. There's only 300 strong roaming the streets of Manhattan. That's not real numbers, right? So what does the Black Lives Matter movement want? The millions and millions and tens of millions of young people in this country, which way are they leaning? They don't like Trump. They fundamentally bought into the idea that Trump is a racist and a Nazi and a conservative and all this and a capitalist, right? They don't like that shit. So they didn't like him then. They don't like him now. But I don't think they like Biden any different. I think they just see Biden as a pivot, as a way to destabilize the system just enough to get their voices heard, right? That's what they're doing, right? So yeah, this is what I'm feeling right now. So thank you everybody for joining me. Marcus Conte reporting live from his getaway spot here, his permanent getaway spot. Oh, he's permanent. Love this shit. From his home away from home. His escape. Marcus Conte has escaped. I escaped New York City. I think about it every day. I look up and I say, holy shit, I got out, man. I fucking got out. I'm still alive. I'm in good shape. And, and thank you so much for all your support over the years, right? It's been like, 3 years, 4 years running now. So thank you. We got the best is yet to come, man. The best, I always say, man, we are just getting started here. I got a lot of whole musical stuff going on over here. I got a little couch sitting. I might turn the set around so that you could see the room. And it's all good. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, man. I'm not in Philly, by the way. Thank you, Vinny DiMartini on the wrench. Thank you, Vinny DiMartini. Thank you, everybody, for sharing and joining us. Have a great day, man. See you in the morning. Have a good Saturday weekend.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.